welcome to Funology, a program where we show you an activity and the quick and easy steps how you can do it at home. Today we're going to be talking about upcycling, and we're going to be upcycling produce. So have you ever been at home and been in the kitchen with your parents, and maybe they're cooking and they're cutting something up and they cut off a part and then throw it away? Well, we're going to be using some of those throwaway scraps to plant. So let's get started, guys. Okay guys, so we're ready to get started. The materials we're going to need today are going to be a cutting board, a knife. Now, when we're using a knife, I want to remind you to always get your parents' assistance, even if you're using a plastic knife. So get their permission and their assistance. Please don't do this part alone. And then the produce that we're going to be using today is going to be celery. So you don't have to use celery. Check and see what you have around your house. Maybe you have lettuce, maybe you have cabbage, maybe you have some other vegetable that you want to try out. Maybe you have a carrot top that you want to try to plant. So we're going to work with whatever we have in our fridges. And I'm going to be working with a pepper. For you can work with a bell pepper. You can work with, this one is actually a jalapeno. Be careful if you're using a jalapeno because they are very spicy. The seeds in the inside of the jalapeno are spicy, and if you get that on your hands, you're going to want to wash them really well with warm water and soap. And keep your hands away from your nose, mouth, eyes, anything like that, because jalapenos are spicy and it will burn you if it gets in. So I would stay away from that. If you have a bell pepper of some kind, definitely use that. But if you're using a jalapeno, get your parents' help. And we're gonna need this container filled half of the way with water. And then I'm gonna need a plastic baggie and paper towel. So first, we're gonna try our celery. So all we're gonna do, with our parents' help, is cut the end off of the celery. So what we're left with is a bottom that looks like this. It kind of looks like a rose. And we're gonna place that in the water. And we're just gonna sit this in a windowsill. So we're gonna sit this in a windowsill and let it start blooming. You should start seeing little leaves that look similar to this growing out of your celery stalk. And you're gonna start growing your own celery plant. So it's really cool to see. I have another example of something that I worked on. I was working with some green onions, and I basically did the same thing. So this is my example of green onion, and I just cut off the green ends. I rubber banded them together so they'd stand up in my container, and I put about half of the container size worth of water. And as you can see, these have been sitting in water for about 3 days in the sun, and I have some sprouts, some green sprouts growing out of my onion. So it's another cool trick you can try with a different vegetable. Now for the jalapeno seeds, I want to do something experimental. I want to see what happens if I put the seeds in the fridge. I had somebody tell me that you can sprout some seeds in the refrigerator. So I thought, let me try it. So I'm going to take my jalapeno seeds, a paper towel, and a plastic bag. I'm going to scoop out my seeds. Now my paper towel is a little bit damp. I wet it with a little bit of water, and then I'm just going to spread my jalapeno seeds out so they're evenly spaced and they have a little bit of room. Now I know all vegetable seeds and fruit seeds are not the same, so I'm not sure how this experiment is going to go. I've never tried this before. I'm not sure if it's going to work with these seeds. It may not work, it might. So I figured, let me try it. I'm gonna put it in this plastic bag because that's gonna trap the moisture and keep it damp inside. And then I'll close it up and put this in my fridge, and then we'll see what happens. So I really encourage you all to do the same. Look around your kitchen, see what you can find, see how you think this plant might grow, make a prediction. So I predict that my celery is gonna sprout little leaves within, I'd say maybe 4 or 5 days, but I might be wrong. It might come sooner, it might come later. For my jalapeno seeds, I'm really not sure what's gonna happen. I'm gonna leave them in the freezer for about in the fridge for about a week. I'll keep checking on them, make sure my paper towel is still damp. But aside from that, I don't know what's gonna happen. So I'm just gonna use my imagination and be as creative as possible and see what I can do. So I'm gonna encourage you to do the same. Check and see what you have in your fridge, at home. Maybe you want to use the seeds from a lemon, from an orange. Maybe you just want to try to sprout a potato. That's a really cool one. I've heard that potato sprout really cool, and they grow fuzzy hair on the bottom. If you just put them in a jar and fill it halfway with water and stick the potato in, I heard they grow some curly hair. So I encourage you all to be as creative as possible, use your imagination, and have fun while you're doing it. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Funology. I wanted to remind you that if you're interested in some other fun gardening tips and you're excited about learning more about how you can grow your own fruits and vegetables, please feel free to visit the Arcadia Public Library's online catalog and check out some of the great books that we have. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Bye, guys.